Hey guys, TheAirSoftTech here today, bringing another gun review video. However, this one is not on an Elite Force, it's on a G&P M4. So this gun's very similar to the one in the previous video because, well, they're both high-speed SSG builds. They both have the same basic components and just stuff like that, really. However, this one's in a G&P and the other one was in an Elite Force, so this one was a heck of a lot easier to build. So, the basic internal setup is a ZCI balanced motor, SHS Gen 4 gears, SHS M120 spring, SHS piston, and for the most part, SHS parts. You know, I've got the basic parts like the, ball bearing spring guide, it does have ball bearings, it's not just a solid one. SHS trigger contacts, basic stuff really. So, not a whole lot going on as far as, special things going. I am running G&P ball bearings in this because ball bearings are really nice for, SSG builds in my opinion. They just make it feel a lot smoother and they make it cycle a lot smoother and it just gets a good sound to it. And that's why I like to use bearings. I am also using a bushing under the spur, so we're not having a problem there with durability. So all the stress that's on that spur is on that bushing and not on a bearing that can break. It does have a Kelly Colburn MOSFET in it, which is a really cool MOSFET. I actually really like his MOSFETs. They're great in my opinion. Good price, very well built, and just fantastic in my opinion. But that's another video, so I'll get to that later. One thing I actually did do to this gun is I did shave down the grip a little bit where it meets the receiver so it has a perfect engagement now. You can see where it's just barely shaved. It's actually not shaved a whole lot, but it is shaved nonetheless to where it does match perfectly with the receiver, just so we got that much better shimming. That's all I'm looking for. Trigger response is fantastic, rate of fire is around 35 RPM, that's all fantastic and all. So it's a really great field gun in my opinion. It does have a Mad Bull barrel. I'm not sure on the diameter. I'd assume it's a 6.03, but I don't know. I did have to swap out the bucking on this one for a Lonex 70D because the Mad Bull bucking that was in it, the lips were way too big and it just wouldn't, the BB wouldn't go past it. It would jam, it would have like an air compression failure. And it was really weird. So I just swapped out the bucking because the one that was in this gun was a Mad Bull Blue, was just way too swollen in the front, and BBs just couldn't go through it. So I did swap it, like I said. Not a big problem there, and it still gets a good consistency and range and accuracy. Lonex buckings are better than Mad Bull, in my opinion. Now, I did get this gun in initially to replace the bevel, but like I said, just things were going wrong, so I did have to replace things as I went. But like I said, I did have to replace the bevel because it was an SHS Gen 4 bevel, and they just tend to fail a lot. So I did swap with another SHS Gen 4 bevel, and I know what you guys are thinking right off the bat. Why is he replacing, an SHS broken bevel with another SHS bevel that is prone to failure? Well, it's because I'm running out of bevels. I'm just running out of XYT bevels, so I can't replace them, those broken SHS bevels with, nice XYT bevels like I used to because I'm starting to run out. So a really big issue there. SHS really needs to get their act together. But this bevel should last just fine. It's not super high. I tried to trim it as low as I could to the spur so that I could get the best contact as possible so it doesn't snap in half. In addition, I did have to replace the cylinder in this thing because G&P cylinders have a really weird porting on them where instead of actually putting a hole in the cylinder, they crown it, and it's really, really weird. However, it doesn't seem to really work because when I had it in this gun, and like I said, I have an M120 spring in this gun, it was getting around 430 to 440 FPS, which is incredibly high for an M120 spring. So I did some math and I just noticed that cylinder just has too much volume for this barrel setup and all that stuff. So I did some more math and I swapped it out for a Lonex cylinder that I actually custom ported. So it's getting the perfect, air volume to barrel ratio going, and it's getting around 395 FPS, which is right around where an M120 should sit. So I'm assuming that once the spring settles though, it should get around 385, 390. But that's really all I had to do. There wasn't a whole lot I did with this build because this is the second time I've worked on it. And so, I just did some other things to it and just fixed some errors. And the first time he sent me this gun, he only sent the lower, which caused a ton of problems with feeding and FPS and stuff like that. So I did clear up some of those issues. But now it's working fantastic. So let's go chrono it. Alright, so I've got the G&P right outside here, hooked up to an 11 volt LiPo battery, full charge. We've got some .20s in the magazine. Let's see what it chronos. 390, 390, 390, dud, 388, 391, 398, 391, and 391. Full auto. 2000 RPM. So as you can see, the Chrono was getting some pretty great results, around 390 FPS at around 34-35 RPS. It would get a little faster if I wasn't using a buffer tube LiPo and I was using a brick LiPo. That'd be great. However, I was using a buffer tube LiPo because I can't hold a battery, hold the gun, and Chrono at the same time. So if the customer runs it on like a brick style battery, he should get around 35-36 RPS. If he runs it on the same buffer tube battery that I have, then he'll get around 33-34. But that's just a different thing, really. Weird thing about this gun, sometimes if you have trouble feeding, it could be the mag. I had to actually put tape around the mag to get it to sit perfectly in the mag well, or else it has a ton of wobble and it won't feed properly. Now, these are mags. So if I do take another mag, one right here, and I put it in here, it has a lot of wobble to the point where it doesn't want to feed. So that is a big problem. That's why I did put tape around this. And depending on what depending on what magazine the customer is using, it may or may not have a problem. I don't know. But this is what I did have to do to get it to feed, and it does feed flawlessly. It did used to only feed every other round or so, but that's fixed now. But that's it. This is a successful build. I hope the customer will be pleased, and I assume he will. I will see you guys next time.